But go ahead, I'm done.
Much appreciated. To the Most High goes the glory.
Mm-hmm.
So we're live. I'm gonna mute y'all mics because of the eternal echo in my background. The reason why I have to echo in my house is because I have all these angels surrounding me, so their wings are just loud. But don't be jealous. Okay, so welcome everybody. Another episode of Love Language. Love Language, the round table. If you are watching the video and you want to comment, you're always welcome to do so. We'll do our best to check out the comments and then read them online if we can. Also share the video because that helps too to spread the conversation. I'm only my purview is really limited, so if you're able to do that, that'd be a good help, big help too, as far as spreading the conversation, because we want everybody to weigh in on all of these topics so we can all come to some kind of conclusion, whether or not you take the information or not, but just something to think about as you're going through your life. So what was I going to say? So that's that. And today's topic is, also pray everybody's having a good day so far. Hope you have a beautiful week. Where I am in Ohio, it's cooled down a lot, so I got a hoodie on. And you know, had to turn the heat on last night. It's ridiculous, but it's gonna be okay. We have to be apt to deal with all different changes in season. But I'm praising Most High we here to even be talking about some doggone weather. Okay. So today's topic is close encounters, managing long distance relationships. And before we get started, there was a conversation earlier on the Love Language Roundtable Facebook page. We encourage you to like that page as well. We want to have a conversation going outside of the Saturday. There was a post up there about dating that I shared earlier from this artist, this musical artist out in LA, but he was talking about dating and the constructs around that. So I'll encourage you all to look at that as well. It kind of ties into this. I think it kind of ties into one of the questions, but so hopefully if we can talk about that as well, that'd be good. But people are talking about it, and it needs to have many perspectives added to it before we can answer a matter, I think. So anyway, check that out. But okay, today's topic again is close encounters, managing long distance relationships. And the synopsis says, intimate relationships can be difficult even when partners live in the same location. But what about long distance relationships? Would you date someone who didn't live in the same city as you? Why or why not? What are the pros and cons of such a relationship? Is it essential to establish ground rules before entering into the situation? And how do you effectively handle conflict when it arises? So that's the initial synopsis. I would like for us to talk about this in the construct of dating. I know there's a lot of, dating is a weird word to begin with. I know we had this conversation about that a while back, but this is strictly talking about dating. So this is not courting. This is not marriage. That's all I have to say about the topic. But yeah, so if anybody want to jump in and talk about it, or get some opening thoughts, we can go. Okay, hey.
Hello. So you just brought something out that kind of puts a little wedge into my response now, because I don't believe in dating. So it's like word. I don't now in my old age. So it's kind of put a wedge in my response if we going off of that way, unless I'm allowed to have the dating as courting. Because like Chief Zebulon would probably say, I forgot exactly how he says it, but that word is like really wide. Like you just said, dating is just like, are you talking about from a Western standpoint? Are you talking about from an Eastern standpoint? Eurocentric or Afroasiatic? Like, what are we talking about when we talking about dating? Are we talking about modern Cardi B type of dating? Are we, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, you know. So, but I did want to just comment on what you brought out as my opening. I think that this is a great topic. There's a few different things that was brought out in those side questions that I think will allow this segment today to be very beneficial for those of us that's tuning in. So that's all I got. I'll let you decide on how you want me to go in on the dating, because like I said, I don't know. I talked to you about it before and others about it, how I feel about the dating. But if we talking about courting, because lastly, is dating going towards marriage, or is it just play the field for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many ways. Like I've been in a relationship for 10 years. Now, girl, I'm just dating. So it's like it's so many ways to go about this. But y'all know my whole thing as far as the love language. I'm just trying to make it to where we have all successful relationships, marriages. So that's why I can't really speak on the dating. That's it.
Well, now, because I think at this point we kind of need some type of groundwork, some type of ground rules. Like, so can we? I mean, when we say dating, and I already understood what Sister Tamar said that okay, we're not talking about courting, and we're not talking about marriage. We're talking about dating. So, can I assume that by that you mean dating from the secular African American experience? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, and I hate to like put restrictions around the topic, but because I don't want to silence anybody, but just understanding that the people that we're probably talking to they're not thinking Torah. So I'm just saying, like, how will we help our people, you know what I'm saying, to still navigate that in a way that's healthy, with the end goal of something permanent, whatever they will call that to be. That's the only reason why I put those restrictions up, is just to make sure we are having everybody's voices and situations considered on this platform. So.
Okay. Because with that said, I don't really. Let me not say really. I'm going to say this emphatically. There is no way to. It's like trying to sanitize swine. It's like trying to kosherize the pig. Secular Western dating is a disaster in itself. I kind of view it as an attempt to sanitize whoredom, because if you look at how dating is in the construct of the African American experience, dating is just a nice way of saying that me and this random girl over here, we're having sex, and we're going to continue to have sex. And at some point in time, after she gets pregnant, we'll have to sit down and figure out how we're going to make this work. That's insanity. And of course, when you look at the conditions of African Americans who follow that platform, this is the reason why the relationships are almost like universally train wrecks. Because again, we're trying to kosherize the pig. The concept of Western dating in itself is an abomination. And what we're trying to do is, instead of removing ourselves from the abomination, we're trying to say, okay, how can I put this kufi on top of this pig? How can I Hebraicize it, or how can I try to make it work? And the thing is that it does not work, because it was never meant to work. Whoredom is whoredom, and whoredom is never meant to be marriage. Whoredom is never meant to be, a righteous setup. Now, we give, you got to give a salute to our people, because one thing about our people is that we always try to make the best out of horrible situations, whether we're talking about slavery and, it's like, okay, we got to eat the pig and we got to do this. So you know what? We're going to season it up this way, and we're going to fry it up this way. And we try to find ways to make horrible situations better. But better doesn't mean good. It just means it's an improvement on straight wickedness. So I agree with Shema that it's very difficult to talk about the viability of Americanized dating, because again, it's a train wreck. It was a train wreck from its inception. I think it's funny that you mentioned Cardi B, like dating in the sense of like Cardi B, and I'm thinking like, y'all forbid that anybody dates like Cardi B. That's you're asking for hell on earth. But I just think, just generally speaking, for me at least, the only way to establish any type of functional relationship, it has to come. The people have to depart from this platform of dating that we've received in this country. It's just no way to make situations like that work. unless both parties are dysfunctional themselves and they're basically buying into their own delusion of what makes a good relationship. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, I don't know. I pretty much like what y'all saying so far. Like I said, pretty much, because it's been many years before I even dated, whatever. But it's just the point that you make is very, very true. As far as like you said, like with the whole like whoremongering and doing all these things. Like I said, I think when I was coming up and I got to call myself dating, really wasn't dating, but just different women, whatever, and a lot of times when you in that type of situation, you're not necessarily, in my case, I wasn't necessarily trying to look to be with nobody. It's just one of those things, how many females you can have, whatever, and then, Most High got a way of, hey, this is going to be your wife. And sometimes the situation falls that way when it end up being your wife, just you're not even thinking it's going to be your wife. Like me, I never thought I would get married, so it was kind of one of those things you just, like you say, just in a relationship, whatever, with somebody with benefits, whatever you want to call it, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I said, I wish it could be that way where you have to work for that person, so many years, like in biblical times, work for them, and basically your parents pretty much groom you to who you're gonna be with. I wish it was that simple. It was that easy, but I think we do have to. I guess if you're not looking for somebody, but if you're in a relationship and you just meet somebody, it can lead to that being your wife and things of that nature. But like as far as like this topic of even long distance, that's a whole nother thing right there. Like me personally, I think that you have to be a strong person to even have a long distance relationship. I tried that when I was in college, and when I went away, I already knew that. I was like, well, I know that I'm not going to be faithful and be loyal. I'm way in Alabama somewhere, and I knew that it wasn't going to work out. Like I say, just for me, but I commend anyone who can hold a long distance relationship, and I know that a lot of times too it comes with maturity, and it comes with maturity, and it comes with, just like I said, just not being so eager to have to be with someone, because we think about a relationship, you want to be with somebody who's going to be on the same page you are, be like-minded. The physical aspect of that going to come, what I'm saying, but we got to have some type of attraction in the first place. But you had that attraction in the first place, we know that you got to have things in common as well to make it to that point where you do have a relationship, that even if it's going to be a long distance relationship, though. So it's just, like I said, it's just a matter of who you are and how you deal with things. Because, like I said, me personally, I know that no long distance relationship wasn't going to work out on my end. I'm just being honest.
So yeah, so I, and we can talk about all of those different things, because we could just say, relationships period, and then we could, because I don't want to silence anybody, but I'm just trying to get the conversation to be as wide as possible, because we all a bunch of Bible thumpers on this platform. Let's just keep it 1,000, okay? But a lot of people don't necessarily subscribe to that, and so just to so with that in mind, even if we just ride the wave of an intimate relationship or relationship, then would you date somebody that didn't live in the same city? I know, Sean, you was like, no, I ain't doing that. But I like how you said too about maturity. I guess I'll say my initial thoughts on the topic. I think it's important to think about and to have your mind made up in advance. Before you get into any situation, like really think about it. But I keep saying I'm an eternal optimist. I think a lot of people can, okay, this is a quick example, but people who are, let's say you married, right? And you marry somebody who was already in the military, or maybe they joined it afterwards. They're going to be away for a while, right? So that would be a situation that is a covenant relationship, but the other partner is not around. Or somebody who, has a fancy schmancy job and they just travel I knew people who right now at the school I work at, I know a woman who is in her like maybe 50s or whatever, and she moved back up here, and her husband is like in DC or something, but they travel and meet each other every weekend. They're a lot older, but I mean, that take a lot of effort. So there are examples of people who are in covenant relationships that don't live in the same place for for work reasons or otherwise. So it still happens, and maybe dating is not the proper term, but it could happen no matter what your point is in a intimate relationship is. So with that being said, you know, would you date somebody who did live in the same city as you?
Hello, people. How are you? Before I answer this question, I want to can I comment on what the brother was saying real quick? I'll try to be real quick. We know how we can be. I think I could really commend him on what he said, and I think that is really what's happening with us in the so-called African American community, especially not having platforms like this where we can pinpoint a lot of different reasons as to why things take place. I think it's a lot of instant gratification that a lot of us want and need, and it's based upon our environment, what we're seeing. You know, oh, I need this person, I need this woman, I need this man, blah blah blah. So it's like when you're so used to having that your whole life, beginning of your life, then you're not going to be able. And you know what? I want to say it's a fact. I don't like saying facts and all that stuff unless it really is, but I can pretty much say in my heart that I feel that this is a fact. It's like we're so used to having that we're not going to be able to handle a long distance. A lot of people that say they can't handle it didn't even try it yet because of what they feel. And this is not a shot to the brother because I love him. I'm just saying this in general, or what I've seen, because it was someone when I was younger, didn't believe that they can do a long distance relationship. They was like 3 hours away, first of all. But didn't believe they can do it, and it was only based upon what they heard, what they seen, and what they feel that they were like. They didn't even try it. A lot of times we don't try it because we might feel that we know, and this person was a faithful person. You know what I'm saying? So somebody that wasn't faithful, played the field, I really get and understand that they probably couldn't. But someone that is faithful and don't play the field and they still say that, is not because they know that they can't. It's because we're so used to this instant gratification, always being around somebody, needing somebody here in the midst. When back in the old days, it was different. We didn't have all this access to travel, all this access to the phone, and all that. They was accustomed to that. You ask them this same question, they were like, oh, I could be gone for months. You know what I'm saying? So we're in a time where it's instant gratification. So my answer going into your new question now is, for me, I know I can, you know, and I ain't gonna tell y'all why right now, but I know I can. Not even before the why right now, is more so because once I started seeing these things, before I came to Tamar and Chief Zebulon and all that, and I said I wanted us to speak on this, I started seeing, in my opinion, this goes into like in the midst of like all the other topics we had. A lot of these situations, or this topic right here, can be fixed if we handle ourselves, like the brother said, maturity. If we can get mature in certain subjects like these, we'll be able to have this discipline. Don't have to be instantly or have instant gratification or whatever, instantly gratified. I don't know if I use that properly. So yes, is my answer for me. I believe I can do that. I think it just takes uh, integrity. It takes a certain type of character. It takes some might disagree with me on this when I say this, practice. And the reason I say practice is because it's very rare for somebody to just go cold turkey on something. In order to be great at anything, whether your jobs that you're at right now, you wasn't as good as you are at your job at the point that you are right now, if that made sense. You had to practice it. So, you know, practice meaning, okay, stop entertaining when women just reach out to you or men just reach out to you, even if you got a good heart. You know, being able to discern, you know, the approach that's been put on you. You know, so it's so many factors, so many variables. That's my point. That's my point. I say yes, I can do it. I believe a lot of people can do it if they really wanted to.
I'm pretty much of the same sentiment. I think, in fact, I mean, if we're even talking about, sorry about that. Everybody's trying to hit me up. I'm really not trying to hear all that extra stuff right now. Yeah. And I think that if we're talking about, dating, then yeah, it definitely a situation like that, like, different cities and stuff like that. That's going to be extremely troublesome, because again, the root of African American dating is sex. That's the root of it. That's the ultimate goal. That's what we're doing. And I, like, y'all know already. I speak that from experience. I know how I was. There was like, if there was a point in time where if the female that I was dealing with lived on the other side of Coney Island, I don't know if I'll be able to deal with her. And she's only like 20 blocks away. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of work. Can you live in the same building? Then maybe we can do something, But again, because my only thing was easy access, like the brother Shama said, easy access. Can I get to you immediately, if not sooner? No? Nah, we might want to just put all of this on hold. But if we're talking about from a righteous standpoint, if we're talking about courting, then absolutely, the idea of doing, of having a courting, and you're living in different cities, that actually makes it even better, because now
Yes.
the motive is different. If I'm in New York, or if I'm in Greenville, and this sister is in, I don't know, you name a city, America, I already know in my mind that, we can't, there's not going to be any discussion of sexual intercourse or, physical intimacy. Why? Because, well, I'm not getting on a train or a plane to see you every single day. That's just, it's not reasonable. So it forces you, even if you have the mind of constantly thinking about intimacy and all that stuff, it forces you to focus on what is most important, because you already put out of your mind any physical intimacy. That's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? She's over on the other side of the country. I'm over here. It's not happening. So being that we know that, let's get that out of the way, and let's focus on things that actually matter. Let's deal with the friendship element, which is essentially what courting is. So if we're friends, if we're building a friendship, why would I have any thoughts about, of getting up in you anyway? We're not even at that point in the relationship to be even considering that. We're talking about things that are going to be lasting, things that are going to carry the relationship way down the line, 30, 40, 50 years. Whatever, so, and I think that's what we have to focus on. We get older, the man gets fatter, belly starts poking out. Female, she's kind of starting to get a little, little washed a little bit, whatever like that. These things physically are going to happen. But what carries the relationship past that point? When you don't look 20 years old anymore, or he don't look sharp like he used to back in the days. When things, now what do we do after that? That's what all of these the idea of dating or whatever, and from a distance, these are the things that you're actually able to benefit from doing that, because now it forces you to focus on the things that actually matter. And once you get all of that established, then when you do finally get together, it's like, oh, great, now there's some dessert, but we've already worked on the main course all of this time from a distance. So it helps you with your objectivity. You don't have to worry about the lure of, because you know how it is. If a female feels that, there's some sexual situation that can go on or whatever like that, that screws up her mind. She starts making decisions that she probably normally wouldn't make, because she wants that physical connection, and vice versa. The men, they start doing insane things as well, because they're like, oh, the opportunity to get that, oh, you start going out of your mind. Distance actually gives you the objectivity to make critical, important decisions in that relationship. And there's no lure of carnal lust at that point, because you already know it's not going to happen. She's too far away, he's too far away, so let's not even think about it.
Yeah, so y'all made two great points, excellent points, both of you two. And that is so true. Like I say, if you like I said, the whole maturity thing, if you with this person, and like I said, y'all past all that, whatever, like the physical thing, and you try to really be with this person, like it can work, you know, if you long distance, you know, because there's much more deeper than just a physical aspect of it. But if y'all building on something for a future, yeah, then it can work. Like I said, but it all comes between maturity, and it all comes where you at in your life at that particular moment. You know, I just think about like I said, my situation at the time when I did try to do it. Like I said, I was in college, you know, young, whatever, and it was like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna try to be tied down to this one person. You know, you got all these girls right here, you know. So it was, you know, so like I said, it all depends on where you at in your life and stuff, but it can work though. Like I said, and it comes with maturity and what are your goals are, you know, because some people, people, nobody want to be alone, I should say. So some people, they will work to try to make it work. In regards to what city they are or how far they would try to make it work because they want to truly be with that person. And like I said, like you said, the dessert part, that comes later on. Get the main course, get that in, you know what I'm saying? But all that other stuff will come in because we know when the Most High is involved, and especially if you know you trying to be with this person forever, you know, you don't make it work, you know. So regardless of that, like I said, I know it can work, you know. Like I said, I just think the Most High that at the time, it wasn't meant for me to be that type of person at the time. Just like I said, it's just me. But I commend anyone who can do that though. I think that's a great thing because like I said, it do make your relationship even stronger because you got that foundation, and then that trust is going to build because y'all have been away. Even with the whole example about being in the military, that's one that's really challenging. I've heard people that's been in the military and I hear all types of crazy stuff like families breaking up and everything, you know. But if you can get through it, you know, it makes everything worthwhile, you know, and make you strong. And like I said, it goes build that trust. So like I said, I'm all for it. Like I said, it's all about the individual, where you are in your life and how mature you are.
Yeah, that's thank you, twin. I was gonna basically say the same thing you just said. So everything that everybody said, you know, just had me thinking about like what Sean just said about the individuals involved. You know, that's with anything though. You can take individual person and you know, their strength, like that's somebody who's disciplined and period internally is gonna probably have neat household. They probably gonna manage their bills properly. So the work is already within you to then have it basically come out of you and be profitable, if that makes sense. So it's not like the concept of a long distance relationship working or not is some mystical, it's a mystical thing, but maybe it will. It don't. It's the commitment of two people who are mature in their thinking and who agree upon a particular end. So that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's gonna, if one person is thinking one thing, another person thinks something else, it's not gonna work. So that's kind of what I heard y'all say. But I wanted to read some of these comments real quick on the live because people are commenting. We thank y'all for being with us. And I'm gonna try to run through them real quick. So Yanni says Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Yanni. Isaiah said all of the aspects of being together should be viewed, not just dating. Clarissa said happy Sabbath to you too. And then Clarissa said instant gratification is a relationship killer. Eureka, we love you too, girl. Miss Betty, hey. Okay, Clarissa said we aren't supposed to be having sex while dating though, these are all comments from the earlier point. I'm just trying to run through them. Eureka said, excellent topic, guys. She said, Brother Shema, it definitely takes this discipline. I definitely had to be in a long distance relationship as part of our covenant. My husband was in the military and he was always traveling. Our love and commitment towards Christ first and then for each other was key. And I know I can vouch for them, like her husband and then my brother and his wife, like you talk about excellent examples of marriage. So I definitely feel that. Clarissa said, it does make it better, but I have seen you really don't know somebody until you live with them. So she's talking about the drawbacks of people being far away. So to your point, Zebulon, about people not being caught up in physical distractions, it's a benefit, but you don't know somebody until you're around them, which I would agree with that too. Clarissa said people can front from a distance. It can be a very deceptive situation. Yana, excuse me, I'm sorry, sis. She said there is a conviction of spirit that is necessary no matter the circumstances. Indeed, long distance demands you be convicted, and the other person in that conviction should lead you to do all that is necessary to be successful and to bring your worlds together. Amen. It should also keep you focused enough to stay on track and build on the bonds established without the confusion of sex being introduced early on. Indeed, sis, I love that. It says, Isaiah said, long distance relationships are not all about sex or that type of activity, indeed. And then Shema said, Yana said, Shema mentioned earlier integrity. People dealt with integrity and honor, an honor system which we no longer unfortunately practice. There is such a breakdown of trust between our men and women that it makes it difficult to trust these scenarios. I agree. And Isaiah said balance, commitment, and sacrifice is key. Dating and sex have nothing to do with each other. So all good points. I'm sorry if I ran through those real quick. I was just trying to make sure we heard everybody. Oh, you have your hand up.
Can I comment on one?
Yes.
It was basically a fact what the sister said. She was, I forgot which sister it was. Might have been Clarissa. When she basically kind of commented on what Chief Zebulon said. Was that her? When she was talking about, like, you know, the people could put on the front. Like,
Yeah, that's Clarissa. That was Clarissa.
You got to basically live to really see how a person is. I think that's a fact. I had a conversation with someone before about long distance relationship, and I asked her this one question. When she said it can't work, and, you know, people could put the same thing that Clarissa said, which is a fact. I'm not against it, but I want to add to what she said. I asked her, in the relationships that you were in that wasn't long distance, was the person putting on the front to you? Did you know, I think it don't matter whether it's long distance or short distance. People could lie like crazy living down the street from you or and 20 minutes away from you, and you still won't know, like she said, until you live with the person. But I also, on the flip side, believe that you can know, depending on the two people. We in a bad time today, like Yana just said, like back then and today. I can't take away from people today, man. I think it is people out there, great people, women and men, that have integrity, their heart is for it, you know, things like that. So I don't want to take away from that, but we all know it's just so much of the bad to where it makes people not believe. You know, like I can't trust this man. You know what I'm saying? Being way away from me, but there's a lot of women that can't trust men that live in the same house. So, so it's like this conversation is all factual what's being said, everybody, but it's the same no matter what. It boils down to the individual, the person you're dealing with, and yourself. That's it. Case closed. We can stop talking. I'm playing. We need to keep talking, keep learning, keep bringing out these perspectives. But that was an excellent point she brought out. I'm not against it. I just wanted to add to it, bring a different perspective, that anywhere you are, long or short, even in the same household, you have to deal with the integrity and the character of the individual. So I still stand that long distance can work, and it might not work. It's only dependent on the person. People. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Birthday boy. I'm sorry, that was immature. But yeah, I do agree. I think that's the end of it, is that it's the individuals that's working in it. I think also that relationships, period, are scary as hell. They are. I think I was talking to Shema earlier about this, but, you know, and I said it a few weeks ago, but you know, we not walking around as infants when we are in this thing. We come with a bunch of baggage, a bunch of preconceived notions, and so we often react to that, and then and we have a topic talking about we'll be discussing that in a couple of weeks, most high willing, but so I won't go too far into that. But we have to just acknowledge where we are. We like Zebulon said before, and I respect his perspective on this, but when he was talking about Yeshua, and I hope I don't misquote you. If I do, please forgive me. But you said once that Yeshua, when he's seen, when he would give people advice or understanding or whatever, he always did it from an ideal standpoint. So I think that's also what we're trying to do, but we're not Xing out. That's why we love your comments. We're not Xing out all these different scenarios. We're not. It's not our intent to ignore that we're messed up. We're messed up people. The other day, real quick story. I went to a open mic poetry thing the other night, and good vibes. Everybody was chilling. There was an elder in there. Wasn't nobody going off acting crazy. And the brother that was featuring, he got on the mic and he was going for a little bit. And then all you heard, you turn around and you saw a commotion in the corner, and it was a sister, I guess, and another sister, just going off, but they have a whole argument. You know what I'm saying? I ended up leaving because I don't do fights. Okay. But I was like, man, like when I walked out, I said, we are miserable people. Like we are. So we have to acknowledge that we're messed up. And so when you come into a relationship, whether you're in the same house, and I love what you said, Shema, about that, because that's true. You can be in the house with somebody and they can be super bogus and you don't trust them and whatnot. So the problem is not this, is the problem is us. And so if we are going to, we was reading earlier in Isaiah 58, but it talks about, being a restorer of the paths that people dwell in. I know that's a bad misquote, but even just desiring to like be helpful and useful in your community means taking ownership of what you personally can do. And I believe that we should talk more about the individual work. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, even the stuff that we see on this platform. We're not the most high, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got no magic pill or nothing. Even though I get these angels in my house, these angels not gonna come to your house and help you out. You have to, within yourself, be committed to changing and being able to see yourself properly. Because if you know you have things about you like distrust or, things that are ways about you that are not conducive to relationship, it's on you to tweak them things. You know what I'm saying? So, so I agree. Again, it's definitely possible to do it. But I love how everybody talked about individual responsibility. That I hope that continues to come up, because it's not somebody else's fault that you the way you are or whatever. So Zebulon, I don't know if you wanted to jump in.
Okay, yeah, I mean, just in response to because I'm not sure which sister said it or expressed it, but pertaining to the matter of it being kind of tricky, because you never know a person until you get until you live with them. And yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, because again, I mean, that's with anything, and that's also the deception of modern African American dating, because the whole point of the dating paradigm that we're dealing with today is that everything is about the show. Everything is about the Broadway play. It's a stage. Because what do? When we go out on a date, I don't. I don't show my head uncovered and hair all over the place and a regular T-shirt or whatever like that and some no. What do? I go and I go pull out the nice crispy garment, whatever like that, turban wrapped nice and tight, cocked a little to the side or whatever like that, beard pieces looking nice. What do? We're making ourselves up. What do women do? Women tend to be more of a more primpers than men. They'll spend an hour, 2 hours in there doing what? Making themselves up to show an image that any given point in the day they actually don't look like. Because you during the course of a day, you're living your regular life. You're living. Listen. Brother might not have his crown on during the course of the day. He's going to and fro. So my point is that we're always putting our best possible foot forward during the quote unquote dating process, which in itself is deception, because you're giving the other person the idea that what they're seeing is what they can expect all the time. And I'm not saying that there's people who can't do that, because some people are genuine. Like Shema said, there's people who are they're just about that life. So what you see is what you get. But what ends up happening is, when you do live with a person, it might be minor things that that might irritate you. It might be the fact that he snores, or she passes gas at night, in the bed. I mean, little things that could get you, frazzled, and so I think that a lot of times you know, when we talk about how, you know, we don't know a person until you get to know, you know, until you get to live with them. On a certain level, yeah, that's true. But again, what is the alternative? We have to ask ourselves, what is the alternative then? Okay, granted, we don't know who a person is, you know, until you live with them. Now, are we suggesting that we during the dating process, during the dating or whatever, should we live together and just not have sex or nothing like that, whatever, like, but we
We
just
should
live
stop by their houses unannounced and pick through the door to see if their house dirty. That's what I think we should do.
Right, yeah. I mean, like, you know, so there has to be there has to be some, you know, like, what is the, you know, what's the end game? Like, how do we solve that problem? And I think the fact of the matter is that there's always going to be elements in relationships that might rub a person the wrong way, whatever, because we're talking about individuals. We're talking about people who they're coming from completely different points in their lives, different
That's right.
backgrounds, whatever the case. But that's also the purpose of the courting process. And, you know, because courting, what it does is that it eliminates most of the issues that you normally would be butting heads on. And so by the time you get to the point where we can even talk about an actual relationship along the lines of marriage, we've eliminated 90% of the, you know what I'm saying, of the nonsense. And so the only issues that really have to now be addressed is issues that are going to be relevant to us being together in the same place. You know, well, you know, things that I'm not going to mention, you know, live, because it's not, you know, it's not the whatever, but certain things along those lines. But most of the other issues, they've already been dealt with. We've already vetted the situation and have pushed it out of the way during the courting process. But again, if we're just talking about simply dating, then yeah, I actually absolutely agree with this, is that, yeah, you don't know what you're getting into, because dating does not allow for getting to know one another. It only allows you to get to know each other, you know, in the bed. That's where you get to know that's where you're getting to know the person. The rest of that person is a complete mystery. And so I think that on another note, you know, going back to what what the brother was saying, what Shema was saying, you know, pertaining to, you know, ways that, you know, we do things today. And I no, not just Shema, but I think you Tamar, when you mentioned about how we do things, we try to present things idealistically. And I think that when we do that, that approach is very important, because what are we really seeing? We're seeing that the way that we've been doing things has proven that it does not work. The way that we've been doing marriage, and the way that we've been doing dating, and the way we've been doing all of these things, it's been a failure for decades and decades and decades. So we can complain about it. We could say, well, whatever, but it's like, well, yeah, we already know that doesn't work. So what do we lose? What do we lose by trying something different? Because we don't need any further proof that that African American dating is a failure. There's no more need for proof of that. We have all of the proof. You know what I'm saying? My parents is proof that it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Their relationship was jacked up. So it just doesn't work. And when it does work, it's usually because there is some certain elements that, you know, it's almost like a dice game. Sometimes, you know, you roll the right numbers, but oftentimes you're just going to lose your money. That's the nature of gambling. And that's what, you know, so when, you know, we have to think concerning higher ideals. You know, this is one of the reasons why some people, going back to the issue like you said about Yeshua, this is one of the things that some people didn't like about it, because some of those ideas were a little bit lofty, and people who were already, you know, entrenched in their misery, entrenched in their failure, could not fathom the idea of these lofty alternatives. So it's like a person. So it's like a woman who's been consistently in horrible relationships year after year after year after year. She comes across someone who, you know what I'm saying, who says that, hey, listen, I'm a good guy. This is what I'm bringing to the table, whatever like that. Her history forces her to look at him and say, he's probably lying. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean I'm probably lying? Because they've already been accustomed to losing. So when they see the opportunity to win, it must look like trickery. And men do the same thing. I used to do the same thing. Every female that I came across, I automatically assumed, nah, they trying to rock me to sleep for something. So you know what? I'm gonna rock them. I'm gonna get what I need from them, and then I'm gonna keep it moving because I don't I don't love them, whatever, whatever. And it's a way of self-preservation. So a lot of times we'll stay in the misery that we've been cultivating in our lives all of our lives. We'll stay in it because it's the perfect way to avoid coming out of the misery. And the idea that something better could be on the horizon scares us because we don't know better. All we know is failure. So we have to think about higher concepts and idealistic platforms, especially the scriptures. I mean, if we're talking about the scriptures as what motivates our lives and what is our guiding force, then we have to look at relationships in the scripture. We have to look at the examples of marriage and the examples of this, that, because these are the best possible examples. What America has to offer us has proven to be a failure. So why continue to entertain failure? Let's go to examples of success.
Those are all good points. I appreciate that, Zebulon. I think that's an interesting perspective. The idea of being so weighted down by bad experiences that you can't see, I'm gonna say air quote good, when it shows up. That's something too. And I think that hopefully we can revisit that when we talk about trauma in relationships as well. I'm gonna read some of the comments real quick. Thank y'all for staying with us. All right, let me go back up real quick. Okay. Clarissa said, people do not want to change, but they desire things that require change. That was to the comment earlier about dealing with the individual person. She also said, we need to keep it 100 with each other, again, to the point about putting on this like mask when you meet somebody. This brother told me a couple of years ago, he said, that's your customer service representative when you present yourself to somebody. And she also said, when you are around someone daily, you get to see their triggers, insecurities, weaknesses, and temperament. Time reveals these things. The more you're around someone, they cannot hide these things. I think that's true too. I think that's another thing too, is that, we're talking about these relationships that are long distance. The question would be rhetorical, because whatever. How long did you even know this person before you entered into that? That needs to be considered, because it's already, again, you have to get past that customer service representative to get to them. But if you've seen them in a way for years and you would never entertain that, like you can see, you can see when they on nonsense. And I think too, what needs to be said, we talked about trauma, somebody coming in and having all these experiences. But even when you are, just like you said, Zebulon, even if you're in a relationship, and let's say you're married and you with somebody, it's gonna be something about the person that's gonna get on your nerves that you are not gonna know until you are with them in the household. And I think what is gonna make that problem not become a mountain is that your foundation is already built on, we agree on this, and this, right? So he might snore, she might pass gas, but you know what? I love her or I love him because I see this in him, or I see his potential, or I see her doing what she is doing. So it's kind of, you're gonna find fault in everybody. Everybody's messed up. So being there, and I think a lot of it is, we don't have, like I said, we don't have any, well, some of us do. We don't really have a lot of relationships that we can look at as ideal situations. A lot of people come from single parent households, divorced households where parents, somebody had passed away, both parents might have passed away, now they're raised by their aunties and uncles. You got a lot of dysfunction in our households. So it's difficult for us to see something proper. And I love what you said too about the scriptures. Those of us that profess to know the God of the Bible, we have examples in there. And a lot of it is because we don't steal. Even in this so-called truth, we will not go look at the scriptures for our answers. And so that's why we have this continual, oh, woe is me. And again, even in situations where the person turns out to be bogus or is doing stuff, there are still ways to resolve that as well. But I personally deal with issues of secrecy and stuff like that. And I'm always like, well, I tell my kids, I said, we're not a nation of, I tell my kids, I said, there's no secrets in Israel. But it'd be stuff that I be going through, you know what I'm saying? Or I've seen people go through and they won't even tell nobody. So there's not even no way for things to be resolved. Even so, we have a lot of work to do. I don't want to depress everybody with those comments, but I think if we look at it like that, then we could be patient enough with ourselves and with other people to begin to work towards some kind of resolution. But both people got to be willing to think outside of themselves towards the greater good. And I think that's where we fail, is that we don't look at the end. We look at what we personally want, and it's us against the world, F the world. This is what I want. And I think that people who think like that don't need to be in a relationship. It's not about you. By definition, by default, if you are in a relationship or you want to date somebody, go back to dating. If it's all about you, why you wasting people's time? Why you messing people's lives up? So a lot of it is selfishness and people not being honest with themselves. And again, going back to what you said, things Zebulon, about the coverage of it. It looked good to be with somebody. It don't look good to be alone. I mean, in the mindset, people think that. Like, some people won't even go to the movies by themselves because they don't want to be alone. So we gotta rethink of all of those things, and so we can get to a point. So okay,
Can I say something real quick before you read that next comment?
Sure, yes.
Going back to what was said again, I think it's right. I don't have a lot of times when I comment, y'all, I want y'all to know I'm not against what you said. I think it's right, especially in the context of what's happening and how people are in general. In addition to the long distance or short distance or around the corner, I don't think the right questions are answered or asked. A lot of this dating, like I'm gonna take from what Zebulon said, the so-called African American dating. We don't ask questions, or we don't ask the right questions, and we allow the answers to be very small. It is never thorough. That's why I love the courting thing too. I think long distance is so many things, ways that you could go around it, and short distance too. I gotta throw it in there because it's still failure within short distance. And I think the biggest thing is questions. That's where courting come in. I know Zebulon keeps associating the dating with sex, and I'm not against that. I agree with him. But I know the sister has said you shouldn't have sex while you're dating, and I can agree with that too. But the point I'm trying to make is the questions, the communication is very bogus in our community. That's one of the reasons why we fail. We're not asking. So us living, even if we was in the same around the corner, before we live, the reason we finding out things aside from the passing gas and the snoring, the major things, I know people that lived together that didn't know somebody was never lived on their own, or their financial situation was always bogus, or this and that, blah, 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 because the questions is not asked. The right questions are made. A lot of us are failing in relationships because we're not asking questions, because we are focused on talking about sex, because we are focused on talking about, I want kids, but we ain't talking about how we gonna deal with kids when we have them. What's your take on this? We're not asking these questions, and I'm not knocking women or men that do, but sometimes we're not asking the right questions. That's it. I wanted to say that in response to, I think, living with I firmly don't believe that you have to live with somebody to fully know them. I don't. I think it's certain things depending on the person. I think it's certain things depending on the person that they might have. Like a woman ain't gonna tell you that I pass gas at night every night. I don't think a woman gonna say that. I don't think a man gonna be like, I snort wild in the mud, unless y'all got that type of relationship. If y'all do, hey. So like the sister said, I think you need to be 100. Have these weird conversations. Have these weird questions. Hey, do you be farting every night? Just shock, and then y'all laugh about it and stuff. But then y'all can, just be, like Zebulon said, friends. So that's it. That's all I got. I don't want to talk too much.
No, that's good. I wanted to.
Oh no! I just want to say that I wanted to touch on something that Shema said, but I want Brother Nashawn to get his to get his angle, and I don't want to just keep double touching the situation.
Sean, you have anything you want to say? Because we're gonna get ready to go to the next question. So did you want to say something?
No, y'all pretty much like hit everything on the head as far as how it's feeling. you know, like I said, same thing. Even like, even with a long distance relationship, even that, you have to really know if this is somebody that, like I said, that you really, really, you know what I'm saying, regardless, you ain't got to live together, none of that, but it's just something that you, like the most I would give you that about a person, you know, like a lot of times we found out we were somebody and then we found out all these things, but in our mind, we already knew this person was that way, you know, different thing. We might not know like the bad habits of,
Right.
I ain't say
Yeah.
bad habits, but just like the farting and all that stuff. We might not know that part, but I'm just saying like, he do give you like little things about a person, you know, and I think sometimes we overlook those things. And then when we do get in this situation, it's like, man, I didn't see this, but he always show you a person. It's just up to us to take heed to that, what he's showing us, you know. So like I said, it can work. It's just, are you willing to sacrifice and stop put yourself aside, your what's the selfishness aside to make it work, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure it can work. It just, like I said, all depends on the individual.
And that was pretty much where I was going as well, Aki. That I think in these relationships, and I know we're still talking about long distance, but I think that in these relationships, what's happening is, like you said, with the selfishness, both parties are coming in selfish because we're going in with preconceived thoughts about what they want that person to be. But like with me, I have a certain template of what I believe a woman should be. Why? Because everybody has their preferences. Everybody has what they believe to be, this is what will make me happy. This is what will make me spend the rest of my life with this person. Because that's what we want to do. I mean, especially at our age, we don't have time to play games. So we know what we want, and we're going to go get what we want. The problem with that is that the other person is thinking the same thing. They have a certain preference. They have what they're looking for, and what happens is that when we are getting to the point where we want a relationship to work or whatever, we will ignore red flags or what we consider to be red flags. We'll ignore things. We'll do like what Shema says. We won't ask the important questions. Why? Because important questions, they take too long. If you start asking real important questions, it's going to delay the relationship because we might get into an argument and then we're not talking for a week or two, and that's slowing down mating time. So that's what we do. What we do is we say, you know what? We put all of this stuff on the back burner and focus on the pot that's cooking now. But the stuff that's on the back burner, that's your actual meal. So you're focusing on this, but your meal back there is burning. So now we're in these situations where when we should be asking questions about how is this person with finances? How is this person with issues of loyalty? What is their background? What are their parents like? What was the template of marriage that they grew up believing in? How were their parents? Were their parents together, or were their parents all over the place, or whatever the case? Was this person ever in prison? Were they ever in group homes? Was she ever pregnant at one point and got an abortion? I mean, all of these things have to be laid out because all of these things are going to lay the foundation of all of the discussions going forward when you're actually together. So I think that it's just like everyone is pretty much saying, it's definitely possible, to know a person without living with them. The only thing that living with them is going to do, it's only going to verify what you already knew in theory. You're going to see it play out. But you already knew because, like Shama said, you start asking the right questions and you start seeing, like I think Sister Clarissa said, you start seeing certain triggers, certain things trigger this response and that response, and you're like, okay, all right. So when this situation occurs, they get a little jumpy. They start getting a little aggravated, and you put that in your Rolodex and say, okay, I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold this. The only thing living with a person is gonna do is only give you the physical proof of what you've already proved already. It's sort of like a woman who knows her man has cheated, but will still ask him, Were you with that woman? But she knows you know what the man's been with him. But she wants the confirmation physically. She wants to see the confirmation, but she already knows in her heart that that's what it was. And we tend to do the same thing. You don't need the physical proof of it when you've already seen the person's thinking, how a person processes the information and how they react to certain stimuli. The physical element only further proves what you know. Because realistically, the only way that you can vet a person physically, is actually living with them. And if you're living with them, that means that are you being intimate with them? Why are you living with a person during the dating process? So I think one of the things that we have to remember that there's always, no matter what the situation is, there's always going to be the X factor. There's always going to be that factor of the unknown, of, okay, some things you're not going to find out until you're with that person or living with some things, you can't get around, or whatever the case may be. But the idea is to minimize all of these scenarios during the courting process, so that when you do get to the actual living together process, then it's not that big of a deal, because you're only having to deal with one or two issues instead of a whole barrage of situations. And I hope I didn't present it kind of on a scatterbrain level or whatever like that. But I'm just looking at it from this, from the sake of that. There's a lot of things that we're talking about that, again, it's just a matter of what the brother said, is asking the right questions. I mean, we ask the right questions in anything else. When we go to a supermarket and we pick up a food item off the off the shelf, what's the first thing Hebrews do? We're looking at the ingredients. What is in that? I need to know. What's in it? What is that? What is this? Let me go check out the ingredients section. That's a little plug. That's a little IOG plug. Let me go look at that kosher.
What?
No, you don't think I know about that? Yeah, I know. But
I see you.
Yeah, let me go look at that list of, or whatever the case. We do this in everything. We do it when it comes to food, when it comes to sports or whatever like that. What's the first thing we do? We go look at the statistics. Let me go look at this person's stats. Let me go see, what school did he come out of? What was he doing in North Carolina State? Or what was he doing in this college or whatever, which will give you an idea of how he's going to move when he gets to the major leagues, or to the NBA or whatever the case. We do that with sports. We do that with politics. We do that with every other aspect of life, except when it comes to marriage. Then, when it comes to marriage, we want to let the spirit move it. And it's like, no. You got to do research too. The spirit will do what the spirit does, but you got to do your part. Like the brother said, no, there has to be an investigation. I got to investigate you. You have to investigate me, because we're trying to establish a lifelong relationship. So we don't have time to be skipping over anything. And that's all I got to say about that.
No, that's good. I think that's important to do. So I'm run through the comments real quick. Then I'm gonna get to the next question. Clarissa said, people in the scriptures be the worst ones because they will twist scripture to their desires and justify their weaknesses. Yana said, my father came to Israel for a 2-week visit and met the woman he wanted to marry. They spent 2 weeks together and he returned to the States and said, I found my wife. That's not how he sounded. That's how I interpreted him sounded. They courted internationally for the next 4 months until we moved here, and 3 months later they married, never living together prior to the marriage. They have been married for 24 years now. Not the norm, but a testimony to conviction and walking in spirit and truth. It can definitely be a blessing, but it takes a different spirit to take on the challenge for sure. So Clarissa was saying that we do overlook people's faults, but to not do so will make you hypocritical because nobody's perfect. And she was saying, oh no, never mind. That's wrong. That's okay. Okay, they having a sad conversation. Okay, I got y'all. So the next question is, what? Oh, what are the pros and cons of a relationship? So what's the pros and cons of long distance relationships? We can start with pros y'all just do it in order. Pros and cons. Go.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. And I guess I wanted to ask everybody too. I would love to know how many of you all have been in a real long distance relationship? Because a lot of times we give our thoughts, and thoughts is great. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like sometimes, unless what's that saying? Till you walk in my shoes, you won't know. It's like, have you done it? If you've done it, then it's kind of okay, cool. You know, I could really. I mean, I could take information from anybody, but I feel like actually doing it is different. It's kind of like I'm not a doctor. You know, I think a doctor is more qualified in a lot of things pertaining to medicine and whatever than I am, based upon the research and the experience they've been in. But that's not to say you can learn from anybody, like you can learn from a child. So my answer to this is, I think that is actually wonderful for the so-called African American community. I'm not saying this needs to be the norm. I'm not saying that this should happen. I'm not saying none of that. But to answer your question, I think it's great because it takes, and like Zebulon said, I'm gonna be real short, it removes a lot of factors. It forces you to get to know each other. I'm talking about, it forces you, if you're in a long distance relationship with somebody, and you know, you on the phone with them, you video chatting for hours. Like, you can't just talk about, hey, what we doing today? We go to the movies? You gonna come over after? Or hey, it's not that. It's gonna force you to get into their mind, get into their history, get into their present, get into what they want their future to be. It's gonna force you to converse, talk outside of the physical. Now, that's not to say that y'all never will, but initially, for the long haul, whatever, how long it is or however long it's been, when y'all have been doing a long distance relationship, it's gonna force y'all to just really become friends. You know, and I'm not huge on women and men friends. I'll talk to y'all about that another time. But as far as marriage is concerned, going towards a man and a woman about to be married, I think it's very important to establish a friendship. I want to be closer to you than I am with my best friend, my best male friend. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot of pros. The cons, here's the cons. I don't even think I really spoke on the pros like that, but I'm sure y'all get the the gist of what I'm trying to say. The cons depends on the individual. That's it. The cons depends on the strength, the integrity, and the character of the individual. I think also a con can be, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You're gonna be missing the person. You're gonna be wanting to be around them, you know. And I mean, you're gonna have some times of loneliness, but it depends on the individual too. Are you someone that was already without before even meeting this man or woman? You know, was you one that really wasn't around people like that? Then the loneliness is not gonna be as hard, I would think, but it probably could be harder on the flip side of it, because now this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. This is the person you truly in love with. This is the friend you just want to do things for them. You know, you want to be there for them if they having hard times, crying or something like that, or going through some hard times. That's a con right there. Those some cons, you know. But I think the pros outweigh the cons, in my opinion, especially if it's two true, good character with integrity individuals. That's it. I think. I hope I ain't leave nothing out. I'm sure I'll pop up with something else in a minute.
Yeah, I think the pros too are, like I said, making a relationship stronger in the end, because like you said, you have those conversations, like you say, on the phone, the FaceTime, all those things, that's gonna make it strong, because, you know, when y'all do able to be together, you know, for the long haul, you can lean back on that made us get to this point. You know, like I said, I use my situation, like things we've been through, you know, although we never had a long distance relationship, but it was like, you know, I went away to school, came back home, ran into her, we broke up, whatever the case may be, but ran back to each other again. It was just like, but each time, it's like you just made everything much more worth it to even be together. Like I said, I never thought that, okay, I'm gonna get married or I'm gonna do this or that. But a lot of times, if, like I said, if you're willing to do that, there's a lot of great good to come out of it. Like I said, building that foundation, making y'all strong. The cons is more, like I said, just if you don't have that trust in the first place about that person, it's gonna be a failure from the get-go. Even prior situations that you've been in too, that can mess you up too. Not trusting the next person because that person necessarily they're trying to hurt you, but you just so messed up from previous relationships that is, so like I said, it all depends on the individual. And like I said, if you can get past and the things that you went through and before and not necessarily think this person's that same way, then it could be very successful. But it has to start from somewhere. It has to be some type of trust. It has to be a positive going in the first place, because to even hold a long-term relationship, if you don't have that, if you still hold on to whatever, it's not going to be successful. So we have to, like you said, ask those questions. Know what we getting ourselves involved with. Like I said, like Most High, He show you, like I said, He show you a person. So a lot of times, like I said, we just gotta have an open mind and be able to, like I said, admit our faults and make sure that we can get past what we mess up on. And like the thing, we just gotta have that trust in the person, because if you have that trust, it can work. It can work. And like I said, again, just had to have that maturity. But I said, the pros and cons, like I said, it's just on that person and things like that. But like I said, I know if I had to be in that situation, like I said, I would want to work. I think I said you get a point in your life where you get tired of playing the game and running around and do all those things. So you would be willing to, sacrifice and wait on that person and make it work. Because like you say, he could be his person the same so many blocks away and stuff, and still, it could be an issue y'all in the same city. So if y'all can do that, like I said, that's great, because like I said, that's a great foundation that you building off
of. And I think that as far as any the pros that are involved, I think the pros are obvious. So we've spent the better part of an hour kind of investigating the upside to to long distance relationships. But what I find interesting is that even a con, if we were to look at a con, the con could end up being a pro in itself. And I would say that the con is, let's say, in the process of the long distance relationship, it turns out that maybe marriage is not where we're headed with each other right now. Maybe that's just not a viable situation. Now that might sound like a con, like that's a bad, but that could be a pro, because what happens? The worst case scenario is that we, after all this time, we come to the conclusion that we may not be necessarily marriage material at this point in time, but we're still great friends. We still have a friendship. The friendship is still intact. We just said, I just don't know if we need to go down the marriage road at this point, but we're still friends. So actually nothing is lost in that situation. The only thing is, we're just not doing this situation right now. But guess what? We're still gonna go out to this jazz club. We're still gonna go hang out. Let's go get the brother. Let's go get the other sisters, and we still have a relationship. Whereas in those other dating scenarios that we were talking about, the standard African American dating, if the situation doesn't end in marriage, like if there's a breakdown on that part, you always see the relationship completely crash. They can't even be friends after that. Like everything is lost. Because again, the whole the African American dating process, it's an all or nothing scenario. The relationship has to end because there was no friendship to begin with. It was a sexual situation. So if we're not compatible along these lines, then we can't be compatible on anything. But in courting, the worst case scenario is that we are friends that decided not to be married. But we are still friends. Hallelujah. So nothing is actually lost in it. But that, of course, like the brother Shama said, and Nashawn said it earlier, is that it all has to do with integrity. Where are you as a person? If you're about that integrity and that respect of self and respect of the other person, then even if the long distance relationship doesn't go in the direction of marriage, the friendship is still intact. So nothing is really lost. You stand to gain everything, but you don't really lose anything. Worst case scenario. So like I said, even a possible con turns into a positive, turns into a pro, depending on the person.
You know what? That's
Real
so
quick.
key too. I'm sorry, bro.
I just wanted to say some 10 seconds. What's that saying, y'all? Somebody help me out. The absence of something makes the heart grow fonder.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I think. Yeah.
I think that going into what he was saying with the con, going into a pro, that's actually a con going into a pro too. Especially if you got two individuals actually faithful, integrity, loyal. Then that con of that missing and all that stuff. When y'all come together, you know what I'm saying? And then when y'all finally be on the same roof, y'all done built something great. That's just what I think. That's all.
Yeah, and like even about the whole friendship thing too. I think that's very key to let you mention that, Chief. Like friendship, aspect of it, because like I said, even if you don't make it to a point where y'all, husband or wife or whatever, you still have that friendship. So it's like I said, it's still a win-win anyway. And I think that's really key. Is like you saying, Shema, about somebody being your friend, like your male friend would be, and that's how I look at my wife. Like, well, that's like my best friend, and I think that it could work in that situation if you going in with that mindset, because we was friends before all that, you know what I'm saying? So that makes it a little bit more worthwhile too. Even if it don't end up materializing to a marriage or whatever, y'all still have that friendship, and the friendship will seem like it would be even bit tighter. Now you got some situations, some people be friends, whatever. They're like, oh, that's like my brother, like my sister, but then it'd be messed up if they do try to take it to that level, the next level. So like I said, it just all depends on, like I said, who the person is and how far are you willing to take it, or how far are you willing to be with this person, whatever the case may be. But like I said, it gotta have that foundation in the get-go. If you don't have that foundation, it's not going to work. I don't care if you long distance or short distance, it's not going to work.
Y'all killing me with this short distance. I'm not sure what does that mean?
Repeat that.
I said they killed me with this short distance thing. It's hilarious. Like, what is short distance?
Man, in the same city. That's
the one living down the street from you, around the corner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, right up the block, right up the block.
Right, short there. So I'm gonna read some of the comments real quick. Then we're gonna get to the next question. Oh man, this thing is going. My bad. 1 second. Okay, so Yana said, talking about long distance, that it definitely forces people to up their communication skills. And then she said that loneliness hits just as hard because feelings are involved. I guess if you're long distance, but you feel some kind of way about this person, then I feel that you do. I don't know. I guess it depends on who the person is. Some people are more emotionally vulnerable than other people, but I feel her on that. And so I had asked Clarissa, because she said she was in a long distance relationship, and I said, how was it? She said it was great. We were constantly in the scriptures more than anything, and not enough getting to know each other personally, which that's interesting. So they were just reading book, but we did that too. But I learned the person's response to who they are in their situations will not necessarily be the other party. There are two sides to every story, and we are usually only accessible to the person you're dating until you live through the side that you don't get to access, and you be like, wow, this is why. So she said, no man has ever wanted to be my friend after a relationship. They always try to force a relationship. You can lose a lot, including your peace. So then Yana said to Clarissa, I've had that experience too, sis. When you let them know you're not evenly yoked for marriage, they don't wish to remain platonic. They try to force either a love, and that sounds like rape. Hope that's not what she's saying. They try to force either a love connection or nothing at all, but in those scenarios, let them go. Better to do that than find yourself in a marriage relationship you knew wasn't for you.
That's some other.
I mean, I don't think she meant that, but my mind went straight to that. Maybe it's probably me. I don't think that was her. I think my mind.
I know that's what it seemed to me as well. I'm like, I don't know about all that. That's some I don't mess with that.
Yeah, some strong arm.
That sounds like almost like that's almost like emotional rape to me. You know.
Yes, that's hopefully that's not what she meant, but I think she's saying that well, I mean, I guess the good thing about that scenario is that you see somebody's response to even just being told no, which that's good to know. How people respond to no, stuff like that. But okay, the next question is, and thank you again for everybody that's still tuning in with us. If you want to comment, feel free to do so. We're trying to include everybody's voices, whether your face is on here or not. So we appreciate the sisters staying on with us and commenting and sharing their testimonies too, because we all go through the same thing. But again, like I talked earlier about silence, we ain't gonna benefit nobody if you keeping stuff, to yourself. So next question is it essential to establish ground rules before entering into this situation? So if you're in a relationship, should you have ground rules, or should you just, ride off trust?
Oh my God. Yes, that is very important. Communication, putting everything in front in the beginning. Are you someone that just wants to? I'm gonna go ahead and say date. I guess. Are you just dating, but you got other people you're talking with? Me, I can't go for that. Like if I'm talking with you, I'm letting you know that I'm talking with you. I'm giving you 100%. I'm gonna need that 100%. I don't want 50% to me and then 25 to somebody else, 25 to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because that way, if that happens, you're not really getting to know me fully. So you might mess around and mix up a conversation and make a mistake and say something that you was talking to somebody else about. You know what I'm saying? I was courting somebody that actually did that to me. Not once, but a few. And at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let you go ahead and do you. But it came out. Everything, what's crazy is everything in the light comes out anyway. But anyway, to your question. I just forgot your question. What's your question?
Should that be ground
Is
rules established before you do the long
ground
distance?
rules. There we go. Man, whew, I'm starting to lose my thought process, my mind. Yes, it has to be. If it's not there, look at the Torah. And there's people that don't do what we do, and I understand that. But I'm gonna still say the Torah. I'm gonna say your job. I'm gonna say anything that you engage in that has some type of structure base. It's always rules in place. So why are we gonna be different in a relationship or in a dating process or in a courting process? Things need to be put out there. Are you the type that's okay with me having a whole bunch of male friends? Are you the type that is okay if a male friend, a new male friend, after we establish something, or vice versa, woman? If you're not asking the right questions, is what I keep saying, because a lot of people I talked to or came to me or whatever on different things, the stuff that they went through was stuff they didn't ask. Well, I did ask questions. Did you ask the right ones? Did you? Oh, I'm okay with you having women friends or male friends. Did you ask about new ones? Did you ask about ones that was coming that was just really interested in you? Did you ask? Did you say, okay, if it's dealing with business or just random? It's so many things, and these are things that I see from people I talk to, from family members that failed. Everybody I know around me has failed. It's only couple people that I know personally that's still married today. A couple to a few, my age, and then there's some older people I know, a couple to a few that has too. And I asked them certain things that help them to succeed. And one of the things they said is questions, establishing what you just said, ground rules. I'm a grown man. You ain't giving me no rules. I'm a grown woman. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Hey, well, you're gonna be by yourself.
Say it again for the people in the back. Say it louder,
You're
Shema.
gonna be, and there's people in our community that think like that too. I'm going to be me. I'm not telling you not to be me, but when you be you, but when you with me, it's things that needs to be established. Whether it's what you need out of me or whether it's what I need out of you in order for me to be secure in this relationship. So yes, ground rules. Heck yeah. If ain't no ground rules in place, I can't be with you. And I don't want you to be with me if you don't have no ground rules for me. That's facts.
And you would think that establishing ground rules would be a given. You would think this, that just like you said, just like anything else in life we do, there's always rules, regulations, and protocol that we abide by. When we go get our driver's license, what's the first thing that you're told when you go through the whole driving process? They tell you there's rules and regulations on the road that you must follow in order to maximize your driving experience. Certain signs mean this. This means yield. This means stop. All of these rules that we do and engage in throughout all of our life activities, but when it comes to relationships, it's different. And I think it has a lot to do with the romanticized elements of relationships that we've been taught. You got to remember, we're taught concepts of love at first sight, which I am so adamantly against. I don't believe that you can have love at first sight. Maybe for your child, maybe after you give birth to your child, maybe that's a different. But people like, no, wait a minute. I don't know enough about you to really form a cogent opinion of you right now. I think I like you. You're a pleasant person to be around, but love, I don't know. But we've been taught of love at first sight. We've been taught the idea of, you come across a person, it doesn't matter what they believe or whatever the case, as long as your hearts melt as one. And it sounds good. I mean, it plays on the emotions of people, but when these people get into real life, when you have to stop playing fairy tale and come out of your Tinkerbell books and come into real life and real life relationships, this is why their relationships are constantly failing, because they're still measuring it up to what they read in storybooks when they were 5. These concepts never left their head. These concepts never left the young boys' heads. That the idea of this is something that my grandmother put into my head. She was like, consider that old nursery rhyme that boys are always told: Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. Why is his kissing them making them cry? And she said it was something that was taught in her days, that boys and men generally have this preconceived idea of just getting what they want from the girl and then splitting, get up out of there. Now, this is from my grandmother. Now, she didn't believe that either. She said that she used to say that was a bunch of nonsense as well, but this was something that was being reinforced in young boys' heads. Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. So the man can basically do whatever he wants to do, whatever like that, and it'll end up hurting the girl. And then simultaneously, the girl or the young woman is being told what in the songs? I don't care about the mother men, just be good to me. So now you're setting up a platform of where now it creates a situation where the woman now has to accept conditions that she does not want to accept, but she accepts it so that she can have this man, so that this man can stay in her life. So these are the games that are played with us from a very young age, from very young ages. And then when we get older and we come into real life relationships, we don't know how to function. We don't know how to function because we've never been told how to go about dealing with real relationships. We're leaning upon fairy tales and nursery rhymes in order to give us clarity and understanding of what a relationship should be. This is the reason why ground rules, you don't see ground rules in so-called African American dating infrastructures. Because ground rules implies what? It implies order. Order implies intelligence. Intelligence implies that there is a higher intellect that is giving us these rules and regulations, and all of these things are absent in these relationships. This is the reason why you always hear about sisters who have nothing but horror stories concerning their relationships. Why? Because they have baggage, and because they don't ask questions, they've inherited men who have baggage. and didn't ask questions. And they came from parents who didn't ask questions. And they came from parents. And so it's just a perpetual cycle. I mean, it's, you know, it's like the sins of the fathers and sins of the mothers over and over and over. So you have to establish ground rules on anything that you do. And nothing is probably more important than relationships. Think about it. Our dealings with the Most High. The Most High could have said, yes, listen, I love you. You love me. All is well. But Yah did not do that. He said, yeah, I love you. But I got this, there's this thing called a covenant that we have here. I got a few hundred laws that you need to look over. And because this is the rules and regulations. My love, you know, my love and covenant with you is conditional. It is conditional. Because if you don't do this, I'm out. And you're out. Well, I'm still going to be here. You're going to be over there somewhere across the water. But there's an understanding that in everything that we do, there is rules and regulations. And if you don't abide by these standards, then the relationship is going to fail. It must necessarily fail. It has to fail. So if that's the case with the Most High, can you only imagine what it should be in marriage? Because marriage is only a reflection of what the Most High established with his covenant with his people. So yeah, rules and regulations, mandatory.
Yeah, that is so true. Like you said, just having that foundation and having the rules and regulations as far as like how things would be, because like I said, if a person would just, I'll just do what I want to do, and she do what she want to do, like I said, it's not going to work. So it's always good to have that. And I even say about like this generation now, as far as like, you know, if I so good to have this understanding of the word, that you can build off your foundation off of that. Because if y'all coming in, I would say like, I'm glad that I know what I know, and I'm not on the dating scene, because I know it'd be hard to try to find somebody that's going to be on the same page as you, because you got to have that, you know, we got to be on the same accord. You got to be willing to play your part, your role.
Say
and,
that again. It's hard, boy.
It is. So I commend anyone who's single and just, you know, and they're letting the Most High lead them and guide them, because I'll be afraid to even try to even deal with people, you know, in this day and age, because it's so much, you know, we really got so much wickedness out here, but you got so much this deceitfulness and this distrust. Like I said, the love of me has wax cold, and that's just anything, you know. So knowing I know, I'm glad I had to understand it, but I know it would be hard for me to even try to like even deal with people, because like I said, people's not willing to let it go and play their part. You know, everybody want to be selfish, you know, and you ain't tell me what to do or whatever, this and that, you know, or, you know, everybody got their different reasons on why they do things. But I just know that if you don't have those ground rules, it would not work. You would not be successful in anything, you know, because like you say, anything like a job or anything you do, or get a driver's license, you got to follow the rules and regulations, procedures. So even in the covenant of marriage, you got to have it the same way. Even if you're going to do this long distance thing, you got to have that understanding from the get-go, you know, and everybody know their role. So it won't be like no big surprise or a big problem when y'all do finally are together, living in the same household. It won't be no big issue, because you already know different things. Then other things might come out that you might not see, but it's nothing too major, you know, the snoring, things like that. That's nothing major, but I'm just saying, at least you kind of know what you're dealing with. You know, that's one thing about the Most High. He don't have you in darkness. He's not gonna have you going somewhere and have you just lead you into a bad situation. He lets you know. He lets you know these things. You know, so it's up to the person to, okay, let me stop being selfish. Because I know I was selfish, even when we was married. I was still selfish and still trying to do me. You know, even having kids and stuff. But that's not the case though. You have a family, you have people that you got to look after. It's not about you no more. You know, even when my first son was born, you know, we wasn't married, but when he was born, you know, he took all the attention and took everything away, you know, from his mother. But I understand that, because like I said, I had to realize it wasn't about me. She directed all her attention towards him, you know. So even that, we got to make sure that we not being selfish in our own right. And I said, it takes time too, because even when you do get married sometimes, or be with somebody, it takes time. It takes to have kids. It takes different situations to be like, look, this is not about me, you know. But if you lay down with those foundational rules and the person know what to expect from you, and vice versa, then like I said, it could be very successful.
Yeah, all good words too. I definitely agree with the ground rules. I also wanted to just add, I don't want to necessarily echo what everybody has said, but I want to add on the importance of revisiting whatever relationship you're in. So I know we always talk about covenant like a contract every every episode. But I think even in that, being open to addendums, like because things are gonna show up, right? Like you might have a conversation, might know somebody, and then a situation will come up, and even it might be time to rethink what you said, and it's not to destroy a relationship, but it's just to preserve it so that it don't further fall into decay. So and I definitely, of course, agree about the selfishness, and I think that a person, if they've offended their partner or whatever, then they should be open to owning that, what I'm saying, acknowledging it, owning it. And I think too, there's a disconnect between like agreeing that what you did was wrong and or just placating the other person, meaning just saying, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, but not really, changing. So all of that is back to the individual work that we have to do, all of us have to do. It's possible for you to not necessarily understand why somebody is offended by what you did, but you will have to find a way to get it, even if it's a long-term process where y'all talk about it continually, or you try to put yourself in that person's shoes, and then you do what you can, at least on your side. And I think that's what I learned. Like when I was married, that's what I learned. My husband, rest in peace. At some point, I had to say, I did all I can. I've done all I can. I think that's, no matter where you are in the relationship, I think I had this thing about, I don't want to victim blame, or blame the person. So it's good to ask questions. That's cool. But people are still going to pull some stuff out of a bag that you had no idea. That's a fact. Anybody that's married, stuff is going to happen where you didn't know. Forget the snoring. It's going to be things that come up. It's going to be, situation where maybe the person lost their job, or maybe the woman can't have children. I mean, you just don't know. All these things are going to happen, and they're going to bring out sides of the person that you had no idea. So you have to be apt to be ready, strengthened to work through those things. And that takes constant communication. I think the biggest thing with any relationship, especially with this topic, is to be able to communicate and to hear the other person's perspective. But you will only hear them if you want to preserve the relationship. If you don't hear them, if you blame them for their response to a situation, then you don't need to be with them. And I think honesty is the best policy. I think it's good. Like I think Zebulon or Shimon, who said it earlier, but the pro would be that it's good to figure that out now. If you see that this person is not, don't see you, or it's not working, it's kind of best to cut your loss. The same thing like Zebulon said, the Most High, like he don't deal with us. He's long suffering, but he don't deal with us no long-term situation. Like, okay, well, you said you're sorry. Okay. He don't keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us have chased him. So you can't chase after the Most High or your partner and then get them and be like, oh, well, I'm cool now. Like, no, like you was chasing me. The Bible would say that. Oh, you chasing me. So if you want me, these are the rules, blah, blah, blah. And I think a lot of it is, I know we keep saying selfishness, but I think it's just selfishness and people not being honest with themselves to say, like, maybe I'm not ready for this right now. And it might change in the future, but to be dishonest with yourself is the biggest thing that you could do, is allow yourself about what you can and can't present. So I'm gonna try to run through some of these.
Real quick before you go through it, I just want to say something about the fact that you put out. Now, I can agree with it, right? I could agree with it, and I could also disagree with it. The agree is to say that that's 100% true for a lot of people that dealt with it. So I can't take away from that. But y'all always hear me say something about it's a remnant. It's always good women and good men out there that are. I think if you're in a long distance relationship or short distance, the key is y'all kept saying honesty. But how much honesty? I say 100% honesty. Mm-hmm. It's things that you're not gonna know, right? But why is it things you're not gonna know? Because the other individual or both individuals are not 100% honest with each other. If you are 100% honest with someone, you will know that this person is not good with finances. because he already told you, or she told you, that you know what, I'm not that great in this right here. Maybe we both can figure out a way to help me accomplish this, or blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people not like that. A lot of people not truthful in that manner, but it is people that are. So if I had to give any advice to anybody that thinking about doing loan, I guess it's my closing statement, but it's not a closing statement. Since I just brought it up now, is to be 100% honest in everything. Everything. Some people say, "Oh, you can't tell them everything. Then they can hold it against you," which that's some truth. Or they won't want to be with you, which that's some truth. But I'd rather do that so I won't waste time. So,
Bingo amigo.
right, whatever that meant. So, my point is, I agree with your statement, Tamar, but the disagree is not a bad disagree. It's more so if you are 100% honest, just put everything out there. It can be better. A lot of people might disagree with me on that, and that's okay. Am I froze?
No, but it would be funny if you was froze.
But you know what? There was
ugliest froze faces. I know.
But there was a time. There was a time when I would have disagreed with what you just said.
I know.
Like, nah, man, you can't tell no damn woman all your business. You know what I'm saying? All they're gonna do is just use it against you. You know, you're trifling. You know, you're wicked, whatever. But then you get older and you say, well, you know what? In time, like you said, and I've said this on many occasions, time is a commodity that cannot be recovered. It cannot be recouped. Anything else that you lose in life, you can always gain it back. If I lose my music collection, I can get that back. Or if I lose my books in a flood, okay, I'll be angry, but I can always go back to Amazon and get them. There's no Amazon that I can go to for my time. It's finished. So yes, now older me is like, oh no, we're gonna put everything on the table. Everything's going up on the table right here, nice and flat, and we're going to determine if this is going to be an issue for you. Is this something that you can work with, sister?
Right.
Can you work with this? I'm not saying that you got to like it right now, but do you see, is there enough redeemable qualities in me that will say, you know what, we can work on that. Don't worry, we can work with this, and vice versa. Is there enough redeemable qualities in her that'll make me say, you know what, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a little twisted, but I can work with that, whatever like that. We can do the work together.
Especially if him or her are willing to do the work with you.
Exactly. And then
exactly. Thank you.
Then if it doesn't work out, if it's like, well, yeah, that's a lot for me. I don't know if I can really, okay. And we can stop on the marriage chasing element and can still maintain a friendship. It's like, yo, we still cool. We still love a whole lot of other elements about each other. We'll just be friends. And once again, nothing has been lost. Time has not been lost, because what did you gain? You didn't gain a wife, but you gained a best friend. So again, Shamar, going back to your point, absolutely. 25 years ago, I'd have been like, nah, you wildin'. You know what I'm saying? Telling a woman all your business, nah, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. But no, that's actually, what I'm saying, that is sound doctrine.
But real quick, do you know something? My mother, even to this day, love my mother to life, but she would say that she would not do that. She would not advise a person to do that. I disagree with that, because I think that is why a lot of us fail. We have not. I know it's 1:47 too, so if it goes for a couple minutes, that's cool, y'all. Unless y'all gotta go. I just want to say this. This is very vital. I think this is very important. I think that a lot of people have failed because they have not been 100% honest, both parties, male and or woman. So that not advising me to do that, or not advising anybody to do that. And I told her this. I think that's not wise. You know what I'm saying? You never knew that my stepfather, which they're not together anymore, was not good with money. Because I don't think you asked that question. It was quiet when I said that. But we found that out as we was together. Now, here's the thing. If you knew it, then it could go back into what Zebulon and Tamar kind of trying to talk about it. It's like, okay, are you willing to work with me in this department? Now, you put a contract if you want to, am I showing that I'm actually getting better at this? Am I going towards, am I using your strength to help my weaknesses? My mama is a beast when it comes to finance. You know what I'm saying? That's her strength in that one element. You know what I'm saying? So you can help pour into me in this. I took that from Yana. I never used to say that, pouring into somebody. You can pour into me in this, and I could pour into you in other things. But if you don't tell me about this, or if I don't tell you about this, we can't grow. And a lot of people have failed because they have not been honest. They have did that customer service thing y'all keep talking about until marriage.
Right. Good points. I'm gonna run through some of these comments and we'll give them the last question. Yana said, why is my computer? Okay, there you go. Okay, hold on. Come on now. Come on. Bear with me. Yana said whether near or far ground rules should be established early on, where you stand with each other, what your expectations are moving forward, and how you both intend to address outside interests. That's actually going to the next question, so that's good timing, sis. Well, good timing. I know you said it a long time ago, but it's Clarissa said, personally, I don't want to romantically deal with a so-called African-American man. I believe both the males and females have too much baggage to make it together. I am curious what a Black man from a different culture is like that doesn't carry the same upbringing and culture.
Hey, I can't even knock on that.
Yeah, me either.
I can't even knock up unless it's a brother that's dealing with really wanting to have that Eastern culture mindset,
right.
not Western. But hey, more power to you, sis.
Yeah. Isaiah said, it don't matter how open you are if your partner not listening, right? When people have children together, they are more apt to compromise and long suffering that changes things. I would agree with that. Let's see. Okay, Clarissa said, I think you can work with anyone who is willing to put in the work to become a better individual. Isaiah said, compromise is built on people saying they want to work with one another. Kids don't always pull that out. Yeah, he said, great point, Shamar. So, oops. Okay, so the next to last question is, hold on. How do you effectively handle conflict when it arises? So you're apart in whatever level of relationship you're in. So what do you do when drama comes to the household? The short distance and the long distance household.
Long distance and short distance, I'm gonna do both of it, man. Just to please the people that is watching now and the people that come on YouTube, man. I gotta check the YouTube out. I don't know how we've been doing on that. This is a deal breaker right here. This can be a deal breaker. Again, it depends on the individual that's receiving it. If they can discern how this individual consistently is, certain matters. But how do you handle? Say that question one more time. I want to make sure I hit it on point.
How do you effectively deal with conflict when it arises? Handle conflict when it arises.
Okay. How do you effectively? I think before the conflict even arises, you all should talk about how you would deal with conflict when it arises. Let me say that again. I think before conflict arises, y'all should talk about how you can both effectively deal with it when it does. Some people say, well, that's too ideal. Speaking on the idealistic thing we were talking about earlier, but we need to put that ideal thing or whatever placed right there so we know what we're looking at. Long story short, I think if we put that in place, then we'll know how to, based upon what we already laid out. I think first and foremost, you shouldn't react. If you want me to give you exactly how I would, aside from the YouTube talking and seeing how you both could do it together, my method is not reacting so quickly. Try to stay calm. Don't go to sleep mad at one another. Even if you don't discuss it, express your love, for that individual. If y'all don't discuss the matter that's happening the conflict that's happening, I say still go to sleep with a "I love you" or something. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people are shut down and then they won't talk with each other for a whole day, especially long distance. Long distance, you cannot do that. You gotta still say something, even if y'all don't talk throughout the whole day due to whatever took place. Make sure you say, "Look, baby, I love you. Have a good night." You know, if you speak Hebrew, Laila Tov. You know, uh, that's it. I think the biggest thing now I'm ranting. I think the biggest thing is to uh, try to still stay peaceful and stay loving. That's it. Try to stay peaceful and stay loving, and don't go to sleep mad. That's it. Those three.
My response is going to be rather short, and when I say short, I mean Euro Gentile white man short. We're not going to do Hebrew time. And I'm just going to say this, that I think just pretty much camelbacking off what Shema said. There's really not much to say after that. But what I will say is that when we're dealing with conflict resolution with each other, one of the greatest examples of how we're supposed to proceed is how we are instructed to deal with our relationship with the Most High. Remember when the children of Israel was at Mount Sinai? The Most High, the people were supposed to come before the Most High to establish this covenant, to reaffirm the covenant. What did he tell Moshe and Yehoshua? What did he tell them to tell the people? He said, tell them to prepare themselves. Don't go into your wife. In other words, don't be involved in anything carnal. Get the carnality out the way, and also what? To cleanse yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
You cannot come before the Most High any way you want to, contrary to what people believe, and neither can you do that in marriage. So when you come before your wife, it is like you're coming before the Most High. Why? Because we are the representations of the Most High. So when you come before your wife, it has to be you have to have the same approach. When she comes before her husband to address the situation, there has to be the same approach. It has to be the approach of respect, of awe. Why? Because she is a vessel of the Most High. I am a vessel of the Most High. And if we truly believe that, that means that when I come to you, the first thing that we're not going to do, we're not going to be filthy in our dealings. Most High said, cleanse yourself. Put away the carnality of your mind before you approach this mountain. Before we go to the high place, before we take it up top, cleanse yourself. Get your head right. Get your spirit right. So that when we deal with each other, it's going to be very logical. It's going to be a logical approach, no emotions flying or whatever like that. We have to come to each other as if we believe we are sanctified vessels. This is how the Torah tells us to deal with the Most High. This is how the Most High tells us how to deal with each other. And once again, there's nothing different in that kind of a relationship, whether it's marriage, courting, or whatever. There has to be a level of sanctity between each other. So even if we argue and disagree on something, the first thing that has to come back in my mind is, okay, first of all, I'm dealing with a vessel of Yah. So let me back up, get my emotions checked, and do this the Torah way. And the woman has to do the very same thing. You know what? This is a vessel of Yah. Let me back up. Let me get my situation checked, and let me approach it the right way.
Yeah, that was a great point. Great point. Both the two brothers. Yes, and I don't really have too much to add to it, but it's just the thing is, like I said, not going to bed mad at each other. Understanding all those things, like saying, and like I said, if you keep the Most High first and all that, then when those situations do arise, he'll you let him be a part of your covenant, and y'all, the order of things and everything, how everything's set up. Then whatever situation going to arise, you got him with you, you're gonna make it through it, and like I said, it give you that, like the know how to be like, okay, I can't be mad at this person, go to bed without saying nothing, because I know I'm sometimes I'm like that too. I can be mad at my wife and I don't even want to say nothing to her, and I know that's not the right way to do it, but those are things that we have to, once we acknowledge those things we just got to work on and make sure that we're doing it in a proper respect, because you don't want to go, man, because we're supposed to be on the same page, same course, better to handle any situation, no matter how dramatic it can be or even heartbreaking it can be. We should better deal with it, especially if we saying we got the Most High as this part of our life. He's head of this covenant we built together, so, there's just things that, like I said, what you guys are saying, that is very so important too, making sure that we even humble ourselves too, because sometimes we get so caught up in like, oh, well, being so right about the situation, not necessarily being right or just proving a point or whatever it is, but if we humble ourselves too, whatever situation that's going to rise in our relationship, in marriage, like I said, we can get through it if we humble ourselves and, like I said, we keep Him first to guide us through it. And like I said, not going to bed mad at each other and things like that. I said, that's something that I have to work on. Sometimes I get get the best of me. It's like, man, and it can be something just as petty as ever, but us being flesh and, like I said, the carnal mind is just, sometimes you just get caught up in all that, and the key thing is humbling yourself and just being able to talk about these things and to deal with them in a proper way.
Yep, well said. And I'll put myself, because I'm like you, Sean. I can't. I mean, not that I can't, but I ain't there yet. I think it depends on what the situation is. I think if, and I'm just talking about myself personally. I think if it's a situation where, of course, if it's something air quote petty, like if it's, you ate my last seaweed snack. I mean, that stupid. You know what I'm saying? But if it's something that is an issue, and that the person has tried to talk to the other person previously over and over again, like, that's not cool, I'm not cool with that, I'm not cool with that, I'm not cool with that. And then it happens, to expect the other person to just be like, oh, I'm not mad. First of all, this is my thoughts on anger, right? Anger, sadness, all these are all emotions, right? And they're all human emotions. So I understand I understand that you shouldn't hold a grudge. I think it depends on if you're trying to hold the grudge, but I think it's okay to be angry. I think it's okay to feel hurt. I think it's okay to feel sad. I think it's okay to feel betrayed. All of these different emotions, because I can't read where you can't have an emotion. I think it's a problem, like y'all been saying, is that if you hold it and now it's like a grudge, and now you're not killing another person, you're killing yourself. You know what I'm saying? You distracting yourself from all the blessings you already currently have in your life. So I can understand that. But I do want to say that, I think it's easy to say, let it go when you ain't the one doing the dirt. So I just want us to always have perspective of the person who hasn't been offended and the person who might have offended, whether they intended to do it or not. We got to see all sides of it. But I think as far as ways that you address conflicts, it's the positive thing about being in a long distance relationship is that if you get into a conflict, it shows you how you would deal with stuff if y'all was together. So it gives you like a little bit of proving ground, ways to tweak things. And it has to be worked out. So this is my last example before we get ready to close out. We're in the show. So it's like this, right? If let's say I'm walking down the street or whatever, and there's kids in the street and they throwing a football, and I get hit in the head, bam, with the football, right? Now I'm on the ground. Now I scrape my elbow. Now I'm bleeding, right? The kids, they can be like, oh man, I'm so sorry I hurt you. But my damn elbow bleeding, right? Now I gotta go in the house, put a bandage on it. Tomorrow morning, I might get up and be like, oh, I'm not mad about it no more, but my elbow is still hurt. So let the people who are offended, let them heal. Give them time to heal. The person who has offended, give them time to heal. Let them understand. And then, maybe next time don't play ball in the street, right? But it's the same thing with the woman. I hate to bring her up, but the white woman, Amber Geiger, I think that's her name. But even the whole thing, and I don't even want to go to a tangent about that, but it's on my mind, so I'm gonna try to get it out real quick. The whole thing with that is, you can forgive somebody, right? But then the person who was offended still needs space to heal. Like, forgiveness, I'm sorry, don't cut it. And it's not fair and it's unrealistic because it doesn't happen in the physical realm, right? You don't go to the doctor and you're not healed. He might give you some antibiotics, but you still gotta take that joint, take its course, take that medicine for however many days until whatever's wrong with you cleanses. So I think that needs to be understood in a mature relationship, that you are going to offend each other. It's inevitable. But as you're going through that, understand it's a process with everything else. And I love what you said, Zebulon, about looking at each other as representation of the Most High, that don't happen a lot. I think it's a lot of it's my way or the highway type conversations, and it's not fair. Especially as a woman, I feel like that happens a lot. Like and I'm talking about myself, and I'm also talking about my experiences, and also the sisters that I've known in this walk, in this community, being told to just, oh, you just gotta stick it out, just deal with it. Ain't no dealing with nothing. I'm 41 years old. You know what I'm saying? A sister could be 31 in her 20s. Well, for what? The Most High don't deal with whatever. You know what I'm saying? And if we are Him, it's not fair. So no, but I do understand what y'all saying about not going to bed angry, but doing it for yourself. Like that's the one time I would say do it, be selfish. Like because you holding the grudge, not gonna kill the person. You end up with all types of heart conditions and scabies and I don't know, emphysema. Remember that, Sean?
You know, right? So crazy, and that's so funny. That's so true. You just said that about a woman, like in this community, they do tell you, it's like, well, you just gotta stick it out and just deal with it. And to me, that's make the situation. I mean, it's always I never seen a situation, just my experiences, they've been told that it's been healthy in the end. You know what I'm saying? It made it worse because you telling them that, oh, you need to stick this out, you need to do this one. If they, like you said, the Most High ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? He give you opportunities to pick and choose what you want to do. He don't say you got to hold on to that. Although we know that divorce and those things wasn't, meant to be. You know what I'm saying? But in the same token, don't be stupid either, though.
Right.
I just wanna say something on that real quick. The just so y'all know my point, what I was really aiming for more so is be angry or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. I'm just saying, because what I learned about myself, I tell y'all a flaw of mine that I have become better at now. And whoever, I marry, they're going to feel this and see this, is if it's a heavy situation, argument, whatever, and we just can't talk about it that day. I was the type that I wouldn't say nothing to you until the next day, or maybe, whatever. I've learned that sometimes even in that time that she don't want to talk to you, or he don't want to talk to you, just the fact that you will say, you know what, just want to tell you I love you. And then don't say nothing else after that. That little part can make it not better, the situation better, but it can do some reassurance. If you married for 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 years, just because you're married don't mean that person knows how you're feeling about them. You know what I'm saying? I know he loves me. Yeah, that's true, but it's still like action. Love is a verb. So if I'm not talking, if I won't even say I love you, if I say I love you every night, but I don't want to say I love you when I'm mad at you, that is, to me, I could be wrong, y'all. That's something that we gotta work on. Individuals that do that.
That's deep.
I agree. I think that's
yeah.
right. You're right.
All I was basically saying for those.
Your audio sound real low. Is it just me that can barely hear him?
Can you hear me now? Yeah, it sound low too.
It sound real low though. Your audio. Yeah, we can hear you, but it just sound low. But I don't want to interrupt you. I apologize. I'm just letting you know in case you didn't know.
All I was basically saying, hold on one second. I'm sorry. And for those that's listening, like, stop talking, it's 2 o'clock, or it's 2 hours. That's my statement. Can you hear me?
That's much better.
All right. So basically what I was saying is a little bit of just showing love in those moments can do a lot. And that's what I learned. That's what I didn't do when I was younger. If I got mad, and I wasn't the type to yell, curse, or anything at the person I was with, they say silence is worse. And I would get silent. I was shut down, especially if I was right. Like, man, I ain't about to say nothing there. So I learned not to do that, though. I learned that at night, even if we don't talk, even if she's very upset or I'm very upset, just at least say I love you. That's it. So that's what I was trying to get at. And then the one thing I want to comment on Sean is this. One of my sayings I say, y'all, I haven't said it in a while, but I don't want to be right. I want us to be right.
And that's it.
Amen. 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 Love it.
And in my ISUPK voice, that's right.
Oh man, yeah. Go ahead, sis. I cut you off. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. Good one, birthday boy. Yeah, okay. But yeah, definitely.
Like what is this? What is
I
that?
don't know. So good conversation, everybody. I'm glad everybody commented and tuned in, and definitely share the video if you want to ever jump on. I'm the only lady. If you ever want to jump on and have your face on, we welcome the sisters to come and add your voice to it so we can have a more balanced conversation. And we'll be back most high willing next Saturday, same time with a new topic. If you have any suggestions for us to talk about, let us know. We're open to continually keeping the conversation going.
Wait, no closing statements? No closing statements,
Oh,
y'all?
I don't know. It's 3:09. I don't know.
Yeah, we've been
okay.
we've been pretty much closing for the past 20 minutes actually.
Oh, well, this is my closing statement real quick. I want to do a closing statement. And I'm going to say this to everybody. I love all y'all that's tuning in. Those of us that's on this platform, I learn from y'all every week. You know, all the comments, all of that. So I just appreciate y'all. I hope y'all continue to come back. I hope y'all let people know about the platform, this segment. I think it's great. And if it's just so happen to be us forever, I'm still learning from y'all and I love y'all. So that's it. That's my closing statement.
Well
Yo,
said.
and thanks for letting me be on too. Thanks for having me on the last 3 weeks and stuff too. The same way I learned a lot too, and it's been keeping me focused on even with this walk too that we all trying to hopefully everybody's trying to strive to make first resurrection. That's my goal. So it's just all these things are helpful in us as being peoples and service of the Most High and being His priesthood and being all those things that we we have to continue trying to lead by example because our forefathers have dropped the ball dramatically. So like I said, we continue. I love this we'll be doing it, and I want to continue being a part of it. So I thank y'all for letting me be a part of it.
I love you.
I love you too.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. All right. So thank you again, everybody. I pray y'all have a good rest of the Sabbath. And until next time, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.